Basketball fans, welcome back. So the Basketball Africa League Nile Conference came to a close yesterday, and there are a couple of things that happened. So in this video I'll be talking about the Nairobi Thunder versus MBB. But before I get to that, I must say the Basketball Africa League Season 5, all the three conferences have been great, and something happened yesterday. So when the final game tipped off and it came to a close, we saw the point differential system check in, and that win that APR had on the Nairobi Thunder, which I'm going to talk about that in a next video, was the one that led them to finish number 2 in the Nile Conference. So the FS Rabat were the phantom team that were waiting on the best place, third place team in the Nile Conference to get that last spot, and they did. So from the Kalahari Conference, we have FS Rabat, who snuck in yesterday, but the teams that directly qualified from the Kalahari Conference, we had Al Ittihad from Egypt, River Hoopers from Nigeria, and FS Rabat, as per the results from yesterday from Morocco, they did. Then in the Sahara Conference, we have US Monastir, Petro de Luanda, and Creole Star. So we knew their status when they clinched right after the conference games came to a close. And Creole Star were the first third place team to be able to grab that spot. Then in the Nile Conference, we had the Al Ahly Tripoli going 6-0, similar to what we saw with Al Ittihad, and APR were 3-3. So they had a similar record to the Creole Star. And MBB and the Nairobi Thunder kicked rocks, and my Nairobi Thunder finished a 1-5 record. And and the game that they won is this one that you're going to cover right now. So it is what it is. So, but before we get started, please like, share, subscribe on this channel. It really helps me out a ton. I've been enjoying a lot of support I'm receiving, and yeah, man. Without out of the way, let's just get into it. So the Nairobi Thunder grabbed their first win against MBB, and this is the payback for what happened in the first go around. So MBB in the first go around, they won that game by 1 point, and Robinson Opong was the guy who lit up the Thunder with that last shot, that corner 3 that he made. So there were a couple of changes that the Thunder did in this matchup, especially the last 2 games. So the last 2 games we saw that the Nairobi Thunder coaching staff, technical bench decided to use the Kenyan roster. They used like 90% of the Kenyan players on the roster. They went to them, and it yielded them their first win. So this was very good because we got to see Albert Odero. He got unlocked and he dropped team high 23 points in this one. UC had 14 and Garang Ding had 13. So with the all Kenyan roster and the all Kenyan lineup proved to be one of the most successful ones. And for the first 4 games when we went 0-4, there was a very big problem, especially when it came to team chemistry. It was brought about by the guys, the likes of Evans Ganapamo, Will Davis. There's not too much chemistry and there's not too much playing for each other. But when the Thunder went with the Kenyan lineup, we had stints where we had like the players getting in and out, but the guys who were prioritized were mostly Kenyan. So the game the Thunder went back to the way they played, and the way they played, they were able to get their first win. So in the rebounds, we saw Eugene. He was able to dominate the boards with 14, which was quite awkward because Will Davis was the guy who was supposed to grab in, them boards. But nonetheless, Eugene grabbed 14 boards, Garangding 10, and Tyler Ongwai, he had 8. Then when it came to the assists, Eugene was second to UC. He had 7 assists. Eugene had 5 and Albert had 3. So this game was very good. The offense was running on all cylinders for the Nairobi Thunder, and there was no weak spot because as I was watching this game live, there's a couple of things I noticed. So when there are a couple of shots that go in, especially when it comes to the 3, the occasional 3 when the Thunder took it, the good transition layups, the second chance points. When I saw the Thunder, capitalize on those points and they scored, that's when I knew that this game was the Thunder's to win. And this was the first ever win the Thunder have in this Nile Conference games. So when there's some shots start going in, that's when you know that this game was over. And there's that shot that you see hit to close out the third. So when that one went in and they kept scoring, that's when I knew that the Thunder are going to win this game. And it was great because when I watched it, I was very excited. And even I didn't make a video then, but I made a social media post saying, had the but if the team, the MC Thunder squad and their coaching staff stuck to like the 90 to 95% of the Kenyan roster, they will have at least done something because there was a certain way that the Thunder played that they were not playing. So shooting wise, the Thunder shot 40% from the field and 50% on 2-point field goals. So the major problem was the 3-pointers. So there were 4 of 25. So still, the Thunder was struggling to find that shot from 3, and there are not too many 3-point specialists. But the biggest concern was how many times the MBB team went to the free throw line. And the free throw merchant for this game, when he came to going to the free throw line, was none other than Tefalena Jr. So this guy proved to be one of those guys who was a reliable option. And this game, he dropped 39 points despite the loss, and he was 12 of 16 from the free throw line. So this man knew how to draw fouls, and he had 12 fouls on him, and he also had 5 blocks in there. So he was very, very dominant. And Tefalena Jr. is one of the youngest swingmen in the Nile Conference. Again, I say in BAL Season 5. And he has been one of those guys who has been reliable and I can even say focal point of the offense for MBB. And without him, I don't think they will have had any good productivity coming in because Jovan Mooring had a bad game. He had 15 points. Robinson Opong, he had 3 points in this one, and he only made 1 3-pointer. So this game was MBB's to lose because the offense that they exhibited in the first time they played the Thunder was non-existent, and it was very difficult for them to play. And Tefalena Jr. was the guy that tried to keep the team afloat, and he was 11 of 24 and 45% shooting. So his performance was the only performance that was exemplary. Peter Prinsloo disappeared. He dropped that game with 6 points. Sibanioni only had 9 rebounds. He got out-rebounded by a guard in Eugene Adera, so that was crazy. And Sibanioni only had 2 assists. And when I saw like the assists, the assist numbers for the MBB team were so weak. They only had 7 assists the whole game to the Thunder's 21, and the Thunder dominated in majority of the stats: 52 rebounds, 21 assists, and 9 steals. But the only problem was like the blocks because Tefalena Jr. On his own he was able to block 5 shots, and he was just great. And I mean that guy was just defensive monster because there was no shot that he was going to allow to go in. But hey, despite all, even his exemplary performance, MBB still lost, and it was great credit to the Thunder's the Thunder, the way they played, and especially prioritizing the Kenyan players who have played for the Thunder in many games was the best. And we also saw the biggest mistake the Thunder make was trusting Evans Ganapamo, Will Davis to be those guys who are going to help the Thunder to win, and they turned out to be the liabilities that the Thunder did not. The Thunder had at the time, and they didn't realize it yet until they benched them. So Ganapamo didn't even play this game that much. He was 0 for 2. He only played 5 minutes, and that was it. Will Davis, he only played 3 minutes, 34 seconds, and that's it. And we had so many DNPs. So we had 4 DNPs in this one. So Kennedy Washio was a DNP, David Etiang was a DNP, Cheng Bak Diong was a DNP, and Paul Ereng was a DNP. So that was insane because the Thunder even turned to Ariel Lokal. And Ariel Lokal, even despite his minutes, he only had 4 points. He was 2 of 4. I don't think he was given like that green light to score that much, but in his presence, at least he tried because there were 2 steals, 2 assists, 3 rebounds. Not eye-popping stats, but at least he was somebody that they needed to play in the front court. His productivity was not the best because it was one of the most inefficient in the team, especially for the lineup that was there that played the most minutes. But hey, I mean, the Thunder just needed to do something different. So Garang Ding in 34 minutes, he has 13, 6 of 12, and also had 10 boards. So he had a double-double of his own. Eugene Adera had a double-double of his own of 10 points and 14 boards. So that was great because with this style, at least the Thunder were able to eke out a win. And the coaching staff, I called them to question so many times because there were too many glaring discrepancies, especially when it came to like their lineups, when it came to them picking up, very good out of bounds plays. Their plays were getting found out very quickly because when they went to a player that they are not with good chemistry and they're not gelling well, like in the likes of Vance Ganapamo and Will Davis, they're really struggling. Will Davis, he was trying, but man, it wasn't enough. He was just benched this whole game, and the Thunder just proved that the imports that it brought in, to be specific, Vance Ganapamo and Will Davis were useless in this one. But the other guys showed up, and at least they were able to grab a win because it would look so bad if we went down like the Stade Malien squad. So it is what it is. So I was happy when I saw the Thunder win. And a lot of times when a team wins, I feel happy because I didn't like the way the Thunder were losing. And we were losing not because we don't have the players to play, but because of the poor bench management, the poor coaching staff, people who don't understand what they need to do to be able to push this team to be able to win games. So that was the big problem. But all in all, I was very impressed in this one because the Thunder carried that momentum to finish the game with that 30-point fourth quarter. And that fourth quarter proved to be one of the best performances yet we saw from the Thunder. And coming off that loss against Al Ahly Tripoli, the Thunder needed to go ahead and win this game. So that 30-point quarter showed me that at least they can be able to finish off the game strong with, they keep the momentum because majority of the time, the momentum started in the first quarter, in the second, it carried on in the second quarter, but somewhat in the second half, the third and the fourth, it kind of dropped off. But the Thunder were great, leading in rebounds, assists, steals, fast break points, points from turnovers, bench points. Everything was just working on all cylinders, especially with Albert Odero's 23-point bust, which was great. So I really enjoyed this game, and I must say I can't retract anything I said, but the coaching staff made some very good changes there. So despite the Thunder not being able to make it to the BAL playoffs, considering the fact that the record was, poor, at least they tried. And at the time, things were looking very bleak, especially prior to this game going 0-4, because the chances of the Thunder qualifying for the BAL playoffs, they were already out because when they were 0-4 and they were down on the point differentials. But with that win that they got against MBB, especially this one at least showed that they can be able to complete the top flight, and they're not going to go winless because their stock will have already gone lower than it had even at the start of the first 4 games that they played. So it is what it is. So I will come back to talk about the video and the game that they played against the APR team, which was the worst game that I saw, especially at the end. And not because the Thunder did not play well, but because Noel from APR just hit that dagger to take the win. So that was crazy. But I'll get into that in a next video. But as we speak, MBB and NCT didn't make it, and APR and Al Ahly Tripoli are the only teams that made it. So it is what it is. So do drop me your comments down in the comment section down below. I will be releasing a series of videos talking about the Thunder's performance and also just give an insight on the things I have seen. So the videos I've been making recently were very long, so I'm going to try to, give it to you straight and make sure that I just go straight into it. And majority of the time, sometimes I feel like I digress a lot, but hey, I'm going to split up the video so that you guys can be able to take it well. And I'm loving the support I'm receiving on the channel because it was great. But hey, congratulations to the Thunder. At least they didn't go undefeated. They didn't go 0-6. I don't say undefeated. The only teams that went undefeated were Al Ittihad and Al Ahly Tripoli. But at least they were able to win at the top flight. but man, it was very underwhelming. And who knows, maybe the BAL season 6 they can be able to change things. Anyway, it is what it is. So do drop me your comments in the comments section down below. Like, share, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, get notified, and I'm out. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace out.